The day my life turned upside down began with my stepfather Steve's voice booming through the walls. "You're just a tenant here," he barked, his words laced with disdain. Tenant? In the house my father had poured his heart and soul into and left to me? It felt like a slap to the face, a dismissal of everything my dad had built. Let me rewind. My father was a craftsman at heart, a man who could turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. The house he left me wasn't just a structure, it was a piece of our legacy, a reminder of who we were and where we came from. Every creak in the floorboards and dent in the banister carried memories of the life we shared. When my dad passed away, my mom found solace in Steve. I wanted to be supportive, to see her happy again. But when Steve moved in, with his two kids and a mountain of arrogance, things changed. It wasn't just the house that felt different. It was the balance of respect and belonging. At first, the changes were small. Steve's kids claimed rooms, rearranged furniture, and painted over my dad's handcrafted shelving in garish colors. I bit my tongue, hoping it was just a phase, but patience only seemed to embolden them. The turning point came when Steve handed me a piece of paper one evening, a smug grin plastered across his face. "We think it's best if you add us to the deed," he said casually, as though this was a perfectly reasonable suggestion. I blinked. "You think?" I asked, incredulous. "It's for the good of the family," he replied, as if my refusal would make me the villain. "Absolutely not," I shot back without hesitation. From that moment, hostility hung thick in the air. Steve's mantra of family first became his weapon, and he wielded it ruthlessly. They tore down the growth chart my dad had marked with my milestones, replaced it with bland wallpaper, and transformed my dad's workshop into Steve's man cave, complete with a dartboard drilled into antique wood panels. I turned to my mom for support. "This is my house," I reminded her. "Dad wanted it to stay in the family, not become Steve's playground." She shook her head, loyalty to her new husband clouding her judgment. "Steve's part of the family now. You're being selfish," she said, her words cutting deep. Selfish. That accusation stung as their disregard grew. One day, I came home to find my belongings boxed up in the garage. Steve met me at the door, arms crossed. "You're an adult," he said with condescension. "It's time you moved out so we can make this house a home for our family." Staring at him in disbelief, I asked, "You're kicking me out of my own house?" My voice cracked as I looked to my mom, silently pleading for her to intervene. She said nothing, her gaze fixed on the floor. That night, I packed my things and left, my heart heavy with betrayal. But this wasn't over. The next morning, I called my lawyer. By evening, Steve and my mom received eviction notices. Their smug laughter at what they assumed was an empty threat faded quickly when they realized the law was on my side. 2 weeks later, moving trucks arrived, and I stood across the street as they packed up and left. Steve's glare could have melted steel, but I didn't flinch. Inside, the damage was heartbreaking. Scratched floors, holes in the walls, and my dad's shelves broken in the backyard. But as I stood in the workshop, surrounded by the remnants of my dad's tools, a spark of determination ignited. I threw myself into restoring the house. Late nights were spent sanding wood, repairing antique panels, and repainting walls. I hired craftsmen to help rebuild what Steve had ruined. Every nail, every brushstroke felt like reclaiming not just the house, but my history. The rift with my mom remains, and I'm not sure it will ever heal. She made her choice, and I've made mine. My dad taught me that integrity means standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult and isolating. Today, as I look around the restored house, I feel a peace I haven't known in years. This isn't just a house. It's a testament to resilience and the power of memory. My dad's spirit lives on in these walls, and no one will ever take that away from me.